Welcome to Cultivate Leadership Project. I am your host, Sam Esquivel. I am recording this show outside, and this is the first episode that I am running video camera at the same time. The goal is to post it up on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. You can search us on YouTube, just type in Cultivate Leadership Project in the same way. That's how you find our podcast. During this time, when everyone is asked to stay home, not a lot of activity is going on, and it's a difficult time. It's not easy for anybody, and it's testing. But here's the good news from a CLP perspective, and that is that whenever you're learning and you're in a reading or writing mode and you're trying to consume knowledge, you need it to be quiet. You need to kind of be isolated from people. And then when you put stuff to practice is whenever you need people around you. So that tells me this, that during this time when we're called to stay home, it is a time to learn. It is a time to increase your knowledge and understanding of leadership and how it looks in your situation, or maybe in the goals that you're going to be setting here in the next few weeks as we continue down this difficult path. And so today, you can also search us on Instagram. I think it's CLP 2020 or CLP_2020. I'm not sure. I'll put it in the description below, but we're also on Facebook. It's my personal account, but we're deciding to use that as the bridge to connect our Cultivate activity. And so today, here's the topic. Here's what I'm going to talk about. It is this, and it's kind of like an open-ended statement, and then the 4 points you can attach to the statement. And so here you go. Leaders will test you, but if you don't quit, you will. ... And so the 4 points are coming in a minute, and I want to open with the statement that I'm saying. And the first half of it, it says leaders or leadership will test you. The position of a leader, the placement where leadership puts you, it's going to be either on a project, it's going to put you around people, managing and delegating all types of characters and personalities, and that's what always brings out the best in you, right? You can learn everything that you want about leadership, but it's whenever you begin to put it into practice is when you teach yourself what it is that you really learned. And so leadership will test you, and that means exactly the way it sounds. We all have an idea of how we would like to lead, or we have an idea of how others lead. But until you put into a situation, because every situation will bring out a particular leadership style in you, people will also bring out another aspect of your leadership. And when you combine both of those things, right, the situation and the people, it's hard to know what's going to come out at the other end. Everything that one believed in himself may fall apart whenever there's time restrictions. Maybe there's difficult people to work with. Maybe you have people under you who need a lot of development that requires a lot of attention. And then you have to deal with people who are sensitive to criticism. And then on the other spectrum of that is you have to deal with people who may be great leaders, and they just happen to be under your project or under your leadership for the project at hand. And so leadership will test you. That means that it is constant. These tests are constant. It changes from person to person, from project to project. And out of everyone, you're going to learn something. Out of everyone you gain, you learn, or you adjust. It's never one way to lead, and then that one way works with everything and everyone. And so today, it's so crazy because I'll continue. I'm about to talk about the 4 points, but if you're watching the video, you'll see that I'm outside. It's just nice to get out after being stuck in the house for a few weeks now. Not necessarily inside, but anytime you get an opportunity to come outside, you do. And so today I'm recording outside. That's my daughter's playground, and she's playing out here with me while I'm doing this. So if you see me look to the side or something, I'm just checking on her. But I just thought I'd come outside and enjoy the fresh air. So here we go. Leadership will test you, but if you don't quit, you will. ... Okay, so a lot of these situations for in the very beginning stages of leadership will cause a leader to say, you know what, forget this. It's easier to help with a specific task and not have to deal with all the dynamics that come with being a leader. And sometimes when these tests come, we fail and we say, I quit. I can never take on a project like this. I don't want to be responsible for this many people or these types of people. And you know, for a leader, there's losses, you know, there's failures, there's things that go well, and the things that go well, they lift you up and they build your confidence. And I don't have to fill in those blanks. But on the other side of it, you know, you do have to deal with failure. You do have to deal with offending people. They might be your friends, or you never know. And so you say, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with that. It's best if I just focus on what one or two tasks that I'm good at, and then allow a leader to do what he has to do, you know, with you serving under him. And so a lot of leaders quit, you know. In other words, okay, let me say it like this. This is and look, let's see, I'm having my cup of coffee. If you're watching on video, you'll see that usually during the podcast you don't notice that. I just edit it out. But so many leaders get burned out. Okay, so many leaders quit. It's just too much for them to handle. It's not fun all the time. It's rewarding. The tasks that you're doing hopefully are making a change and making a difference, and so that's a plus. But if you're becoming a leader, I want you to understand that the tests are going to keep coming. The opportunities to quit are going to be many, and everything isn't always going to work your way. How are you going to come out on the other end of that, right? But if you don't quit, right, that's the few, the strong survive. If you don't quit, here's a few things that I've seen that come out of leadership. And the first one is you develop thicker skin. Everyone always talks about thicker skin, and they say, oh, I got thicker skin and I can take it. And you've never been in a situation where you're trusted by an organization or a leader for a long period of time, and then on a specific project they come at you and say, you know, we're just not working well, and you have to adjust. You have to not only adjust, but take that criticism, turn right around, make the adjustments that they're asking, and then clock right back in. A person with thin skin would get their feelings hurt, and progress would slow down, and you would probably figure out a way to retaliate. But a person that has developed thicker skin, they have the goal at hand, right? That's in the forethought, and even though that, you know, there's some criticisms, some things that aren't going well, they don't let that deter them from the bigger goal. Now they may address it at a further date. They might not be available as they once were, but when you develop thicker skin, that means that you can handle things that are more stressful, tasks that are most difficult, and those usually have the biggest rewards, you know. And it's easy to it's fun to do easy projects that you can knock out with 1% of your brain power per se, but that doesn't prove much. It just, you know, it may be an area that you specialize in, and you might want projects that are like that. I get it. But when you start working on difficult stuff, you know, stuff that's new, stuff, you know, stepping in the ground that others haven't stepped into, then it gets difficult. That's where people's stress levels rise. That's where there's a lot of unknowns. So people might be putting plans and strategies in place that might not be working. And when things don't work, people get impatient and upset. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a human nature. But as a leader, you're called to kind of grow grow past that real quick or learn from it so that you can help the team avoid it, okay? And so number one is develop thicker skin, and that is the ability to handle failing and constructive criticism, which prepares you for the next level. If you're a leader and you're thick-skinned, you're ready for the next level. It's necessary to do the great things that need to be done. You can't be too sensitive. You have to be, a level of sensitivity is important, but more like to measure the temperature or to be able to handle certain people. I get it. But leadership will test you, but if you don't quit, you will develop thicker skin. Here's number two. Identifying mistakes to avoid in future projects. If you don't quit, you'll learn and develop the ability to identify mistakes to avoid in future projects. So here it is. That means you went through something. That means something didn't go good. And if you're keeping count for W's and L's, it might end up on the L side. Yeah, that's just part of leading. And I'm looking at my camera and I keep looking up because of the screen, but I need to look down. So I'm sorry for the moments when I look weird. So I'm just going to take that screen down and I'm just going to focus on the camera. There we go. And so some of the tests we fail, some of the tests we don't do so well in, I get it. It's hard, right? And so, but it's amazing because of what you develop, you're able to identify mistakes to avoid in future projects, and that is that you are self-aware. That means that you're tracking what you're doing and you're realizing the decisions that you have made and the decisions, why they led to a particular way. The key is to identify what went wrong and why it went wrong. And this is the hard part of leadership, but figure out if somebody was at fault or if it was the team. And you take all of that and you memorize, not memorize, you put it to memory, you write it down, and it might not come up in the same manner the next time. Usually every situation, when it's something new, it comes up in a new way as well. But it has certain things that match what has happened in the past. And so identifying the whys helps you grow and makes it possible to help others. And here it is. So when you mess up, it's nice to know how to avoid it. And how does that help others? It helps them in the sense that they don't have to go through that mistake, because as a leader, you know how hard it is to face your failures, how hard it is to face that you did something wrong. And so in this way, those that you're developing, you're helping them avoid those failures so they don't have to go through it psychologically or emotionally. So that way, whenever they get to where you're at, they might be a little bit stronger. They still have to put this theory to mind, and they're going to have to put it to practice at some point. But there's certain mistakes that we could avoid if we only learned and identify it and documented it, and then we're able to pass it down to those that we are mentoring. All right, here we go. The next one, number 3. Leaders will test you, but if you don't quit, you will prioritize essential tasks. Projects, it's all to-dos, it's all dates, it's all finish this by that. What does this do? Like, you have to understand what scheduling is and planning out. All very important, crucial for any leader to develop that skill. And so right here, I wrote prioritize essential tasks. This will allow you to work on what's important so progress can continue. Sometimes we see the big picture and we see all the tasks right in front of us, and we start saying, do this one, do that, and you do this, and everything's happening at once. And through time, you begin to learn that maybe you can break them up in sections. If there's 10 tasks, maybe you can split them up in 2 sections, and you say, The first 5 have to get done, addressed, all the drama that goes with them, you name it, scheduling, budgeting, everything has to get done first with these 5 before we start thinking about these 5. Identifying essential tasks, right? Prioritizing essential tasks is important. And it can't be done all the time, but if you don't quit, you learn to do this. You learn to know, okay, so the first thing in the meeting is this type of note taking. Get some dates, get some times, get some tasks. Who's going to do it? What team's going to do? There's certain things that are going to be priority in order for you to increase, your success rate. And so that's number 3. Prioritize essential task. Okay, number 4, here we go. Leadership will test you, but if you don't quit, you will maintain a positive attitude. Okay, it will teach you. When you get tested, you're going to learn that having the right attitude in the middle of a stressful project shows the importance of relationship over task, because positivity does not affect the task at hand. No, it affects the people that are running those tasks. That is why positivity is so important. It is your attitude and your demeanor, whether things are good, right? Because when things are good, it's easy to maintain a positive attitude. But when things get hard, that's the first thing that goes, and then it's just strict and to the point, and there's you're not going to be able to accomplish the great things that you want without your team. And so positivity is key. That's what you have to do. So let me go through all 4. It's starting to rain out here. It's a beautiful day, and luckily it's just light rain. And so here's the statement that I opened with. Leadership will test you, but if you don't quit, you will develop thicker skin. That's number 1. Identify mistakes to avoid in future projects. That's number 2. Prioritize essential tasks. That's number 3. And maintain a positive attitude. That's number 4. I'll write all these down in the description below. I hope today's episode can help you shift your mindset, or maybe you're going through a project right now and these might help you. And as a leader, always remember the things that you learn are only as good as those that you teach it to, right? And so my encouragement is for people to become leaders, but to help leaders. And those that are leaders now, to find an opportunity, whether it be through Cultivate Leadership Project, to mentor younger people. And together we can just all grow. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
How did I do? Was I quiet?